You ever have one of those moments that just flips your whole life upside down? So fast you hardly know if you should laugh, cry, or just punch a wall. Yeah, that's what happened to me the day my wife, Sarah, was feeding our 3-day-old daughter, Lily, out on our porch, and Barbara Whitman, our HOA boss from hell, marched up and snatched my baby right out of Sarah's arms. No, you didn't mishear me. She grabbed my newborn, right there in broad daylight, all because she thought she had some kind of power. What she didn't know was, I'm the county sheriff. So, big mistake. But let me back up a sec. We just brought Lily home after a rough 3 days in the NICU, and all I wanted was a little peace. Sarah was still weak, recovering from an emergency C-section. Doc said she needed nothing but rest, so I took time off from the sheriff's office, made sure Sarah had everything she needed. We'd set up this old rocking chair on the porch so she could get a breath of fresh air without going far, It was one of those afternoons you dream about, sun warm, breeze light, my wife and daughter curled together. I peeked out from the kitchen, feeling like maybe, just maybe, life was finally going to settle. Then the universe sent us Barbara. If you ever met a woman who truly believed she ran the world, gray hair pulled back so tight it looked like it hurt, always peering over her glasses, hunting for violations. Well, you know the type. She'd been terrorizing Meadowbrook Gardens for years, finding folks for mailboxes, dog leashes, you name it. But today she decided her biggest power move was going to be us. I heard shouting. I look out, and Barbara's standing on my lawn, finger jabbing at Sarah. My heart about jumped out of my chest. I drop the knife, run outside. What the hell is going on? I bark. Barbara's got this smug look. Your wife is violating HOA rules by breastfeeding in public, she spits. I couldn't even process it. She's on her own porch, I say, trying to keep my voice down for Lily's sake. But Barbara, she's on a roll. I give the orders here. And before I can react, this woman, this absolute maniac, reaches right past me and yanks Lily out of Sarah's arms. I'll never forget the sound Sarah made. The pain, the panic. Hell, I was shaking too. Barbara holds my baby, like she's confiscating a package, talking about teaching us a lesson. Lily screaming. Sarah's in tears, tries to stand but can barely move. And I see red. You put my daughter down right now? I say, that voice I use when things are about to get real bad for somebody. Barbara actually laughs. What are you going to do? Call the cops, she sneers. I am the law in this neighborhood. And right there, that's when I pull out my badge. I'm County Sheriff Jake Morrison. You're under arrest for kidnapping. Her face goes white as printer paper. Now, neighbors are pouring out of their houses, phones up, filming, jaws on the ground. Mrs. Patterson from next door yells, "She just stole their baby." Mr. Rodriguez is already calling 911. Barbara starts stammering. I was just enforcing the rules, but it's too late. I get right in her face, and with a crowd of witnesses, she finally shoves Lily back into my arms. My daughter still shaking, but safe. Sarah's sobbing when I bring Lily back to her, and I'm running every cop check in my head, making sure my baby's okay. But I'm not done with Barbara. I hold up my badge for the crowd. Announce her arrest for kidnapping, child endangerment, the whole shebang. You can't do this. I'm the HOA president, she screams. The HOA doesn't give you the right to steal babies, I tell her, snapping on the cuffs as the neighbors actually cheer. Backup arrives. Deputy Williams, my guy, takes one look at the scene and throws the book at her. Barbara is still yelling as she's shoved into the squad car, threatening lawsuits, promising revenge. Good luck with that, lady. But that's just the start. Over the next few days, every family Barbara ever bullied came forward. Mrs. Patterson brings me 2 years' worth of notes, videos, violations, even stories about Barbara harassing immigrant families, threatening kids for being too loud, inventing rules just to make folks miserable. The Johnsons, the Garcias, the Chens, all with their own horror stories. Turns out, Barbara's reign of terror had gone unchecked for too long. It all comes out at trial. Yeah. This thing blew up big, the courtroom packed, TV cameras, neighbors watching every minute. DA Stone tears Barbara's defense apart. The jury watches Mrs. Patterson's video over and over. There's Barbara, snatching my baby, acting like she's queen of the block. Sarah's testimony. Man, not a dry eye in the house. When I take the stand, I make it clear, nobody, HOA or not, is above the law. Barbara's own lawyer tries to say she was confiscating Lily as a lesson. The jury's disgusted. 2 hours later, guilty on every count. The judge sentences her to 5 years. As they lead Barbara away, sobbing, all I can think is, yeah, justice may take its time, but it lands hard when it does. And you know what? That wasn't even the best part. Barbara's arrest set off a chain reaction. Her old fines got wiped. The HOA replaced her with Mrs. Patterson, a woman with more heart than rules, and suddenly, our neighborhood feels like a place worth living in again. We got apologies, refunds, hell, even a block party to celebrate. Sarah got the help she needed, our family healed, and for the first time in years, kids played in the street without fear. Mrs. Patterson turned the old complaint box into a garden project. Folks actually smile at each other now. Years later, Lily's a happy, tough little girl, loves playing in that same yard where Barbara tried to take her. Sarah speaks out for families facing HOA abuse. I'm a better sheriff, more tuned into how power gets misused. Sometimes folks still whisper about Barbara, how she moved away, how nobody's seen her since. Doesn't matter. She's the past. We're the future. Here's what I learned. Nobody has the right to bully a family. No badge, no title, no grudge big enough. And when good people stand together, no monster stands a chance. So, tell me, what would you have done if you'd seen Barbara grab my baby? Do you think HOAs go too far, or is there a place for them? Drop a comment below, share your story, hit that like, and subscribe if you believe in standing up for what's right. Because at the end of the day, the only real community standard worth enforcing is looking out for each other. So you'd think, after a showdown like that, handcuffs, courtroom drama, the whole neighborhood coming together to finally put Barbara away, we'd get a storybook ending, right? Life just slides back to normal, porch lights twinkling, everyone sipping lemonade, nothing but baby giggles and barbecue smoke drifting through the air. But let me tell you, real life doesn't work that way. Sometimes, the scars stick around long after the villain's been hauled off in the back of a squad car. Sarah had her good days and her bad days. For months, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and find her sitting in Lily's nursery, rocking slow, her face caught in the pale glow of the baby monitor. Sometimes she'd be crying, real quiet, trying not to wake anyone. I keep seeing her face. She whispered one night. The way she looked at Lily, like our baby was just some thing she could take. That's when it really hit me. What Barbara did wasn't just a crime, it was a wound. And wounds, you know, they take their own sweet time to heal. But our neighbors, they stepped up in ways I never expected. Mrs. Patterson, who'd once crossed the street to avoid Barbara, started showing up at our door with home-cooked casseroles and fresh-baked bread. Real community food, none of that fancy stuff. Mr. Rodriguez organized a neighborhood watch, not because he thought trouble was coming back, but because folks finally trusted each other enough to work together. Even the kids who used to tiptoe past Barbara's yard started playing ball in the cul-de-sac again, shouting and laughing so loud it sounded like summer never ended. Funny thing is, all those little acts, sharing meals, watching each other's kids, helping repaint the Garcia's porch after Barbara's violation notices got tossed. They did more to heal our street than any judge or jury ever could. I guess that's what happens when fear gets replaced by kindness, and folks remember what it's like to actually know their neighbors. The new HOA board was a whole different animal. Mrs. Patterson, yeah, she ended up president, made sure every meeting was open, every rule was clear, and no one ever felt small or singled out again. They threw out Barbara's phony fines, set up scholarships for the neighborhood kids, even held a block party where, I kid you not, Mrs. Chen made egg rolls big enough to feed an army. That party was the first time in years I saw Sarah smile the way she used to. Sitting on a picnic blanket, Lily bouncing on her lap, our friends and neighbors all around. The memory of that afternoon, the sun dipping low, the sound of laughter, Sarah finally looking at peace. Yeah, that one I keep close. Lily? She bounced back quicker than either of us. Kids are tough like that. One afternoon, she toddled over to me, holding a wildflower clutched tight in her chubby fist, and asked, Daddy, why was that bad lady so angry? Took me a second to answer, but I finally told her. Sometimes people get so lost in their own rules, they forget how to be kind. But that's why we help each other. so nobody ever feels alone or scared. She nodded, like that made perfect sense, and went back to building a stick fort with her buddies. As for me, I kept on as sheriff, but I changed too. Used to be, I saw my job as enforcing the law. Plain and simple. But after what happened, I started listening more, paying attention to folks who felt powerless or pushed around. Maybe that's the biggest lesson Barbara ever taught me. The danger of letting one person have too much say, and the real power of standing together. Word got around about what happened in Meadowbrook Gardens. Other families, other towns, they reached out, looking for advice, asking how we turned things around. Sarah started speaking at meetings, helping people understand their rights, making sure nobody else ever had to face what she did alone. That's something I'm proud of. She took her pain and turned it into purpose, you know what I mean? Barbara eventually served her time, for years, I heard, and moved somewhere nobody around here much cares to know. Some folks still talk about her, usually as a warning. Don't go pulling a Barbara. But mostly, she faded into the past, like a bad storm finally passing through. Now, when I sit out on the porch with Sarah and watch Lily chasing fireflies across the yard, I think about everything we survived, how a single, awful day almost broke us, but in the end, made our whole community stronger. The garden Mrs. Patterson planted out by the mailbox blooms brighter every year, thanks to all the neighbors pitching in. The chins hang their lanterns every lunar New Year, and nobody says a word except, "Those look beautiful." Kids laugh, dogs bark, and there's not a single person left who's afraid to speak up if something feels wrong. Looking back, I realize Barbara thought she could teach us a lesson by stealing our baby, by showing us who's boss. But in the end, the only lesson that stuck was the one our whole neighborhood learned together. Bullies only win when good people stay silent. We found our voices. We found each other. So here's my question for you. After all this, what do you think real justice looks like? Is it a jail sentence, a fresh start, or the way a community comes together after the dust settles? Drop your thoughts down below. Share your story, your scars, your victories. Because at the end of the day, we're all just neighbors, trying to build something better, one act of kindness, one stand against wrong, one ordinary day at a time. And that, my friend, is how you turn a nightmare into the best thing that ever happened to your street.